A rare white lion's life hangs in the balance, guarded by his pride and rescued by a dedicated ranger. Will he survive the storm's aftermath? Share your thoughts on this incredible wildlife tale in the comments. It was a morning like no other in the Sealess Wildlife Reserve. The land, usually bathed in golden warmth, now shimmered with a thin sheen of silver from the heavy rains that had lashed the savanna overnight. Sheets of water pooled between acacia groves, and scattered branches whispered of the storm's fury. The air was thick, damp, and still, the kind of silence that follows only after nature has roared. As the first light stretched across the plains, an aerial patrol helicopter rose into the sky from the ranger outpost, its rotors slicing through the humid air. The team aboard had one task: to assess the damage caused by the relentless rain and thunderstorm that had swept through the southeastern sector. But amid the battered landscape, something strange caught the pilot's eye. A break in the usual palette of tans and greens. There, sprawled beneath the collapsed limb of an old acacia tree, lay a form so rare it seemed almost mythical. A lion, but not just any lion. This one was white, ghostly, and regal, his powerful frame pinned beneath twisted wood. He wasn't moving. A transmission crackled to life. "Base, this is Patrol 1. We found something remarkable. A white-maned male lion injured, possibly unconscious. We need a ranger dispatched immediately." At the Sealess Ranger Station, Caleb, a man of quiet strength and years etched in his sun-worn skin, stood listening as the radio crackled with the aerial team's report. The words "white-maned lion" hit him like a drumbeat. In all his years roaming these plains, he had never seen one with his own eyes, only heard the stories told in hushed tones by elders, as if speaking of spirits. Without hesitation, he moved into action. A compact chainsaw, a medical kit, rope, and a single tranquilizer dart. Tools of his trade prepared not just with duty, but with reverence. He packed them swiftly and threw his canvas bag into the back of his open-top Land Rover. The sky, though no longer pouring, remained overcast, the air thick with the scent of... Without hesitation, he moved into action. A compact chainsaw, a medical kit rope, and a single tranquilizer dart. These were the tools of his trade, prepared not just with duty, but with a sense of reverence. He packed them swiftly and threw his canvas bag into the back of his open-top Land Rover. The sky, though no longer pouring, remained overcast, and the air was thick with the scent of wet earth. As he drove toward the southeast, wheels splashing through shallow pools, Caleb's thoughts drifted. In South African folklore, a white lion is a guardian of balance. Born once in a generation, a bridge between the wild and the sacred. What lay ahead was more than a rescue. It was a moment few are ever chosen to witness. And Caleb, seasoned but humble, understood one truth above all. To save a creature so rare is to walk the fine line between courage and grace. The track grew narrow as Caleb approached the designated coordinates. The Land Rover rumbled over uneven ground, its tires pressing deep into the softened earth. Beyond a slight ridge, framed by the shattered limbs of storm-battered acacia trees, he saw them. The Pride, one male, his tawny mane darkened by damp, stood squarely in front. Beside him, 4 lionesses, silent and unmoving, their golden eyes fixed on a motionless body beneath the collapsed tree. And there, partially obscured by the tangled limbs, lay the white lion. His powerful body was limp, breathing shallow ivory fur streaked with mud. Caleb stopped the vehicle and stepped out slowly. His boots sank into the wet ground. He kept his arms low, his movements deliberate. These lions he knew. They were not aggressive. They were guardians, not attackers. Yet still they watched. In all his years, Caleb had never seen such a thing. A wild pride holding position around an injured male who was not one of their own. Not by blood, perhaps not even by territory. But here they stood shoulder to shoulder as if to say, not yet, not without him. A gust of wind stirred the leaves. One of the lionesses turned her head toward Caleb, eyes sharp but unreadable. The younger male let out a low huff, neither warning nor welcome. Caleb knelt beside his pack and whispered to himself, "I'll move slow, old boy, I promise you that." The rescue would begin here with respect, not force. Caleb's heart pounded in his chest, but his hands remained steady. As he knelt beside the white lion, he carefully reached to check the animal's vitals. A pulse fluttered weakly beneath his fingertips, but it was the leg that truly concerned him. It was badly pinned beneath the fallen acacia, the massive trunk crushing it with unforgiving force. The lion's breath was shallow, his body cold with the dampness of the rain-soaked ground. Caleb made a quick decision. No sedation yet. The presence of the pride standing vigil nearby made him wary of any sudden moves that might provoke them. The lioness near the front of the group watched with intense focus, her golden eyes unblinking, the muscles beneath her fur taut with caution. Caleb knew that any disturbance could disrupt the delicate balance of the moment. The pride's loyalty to their own was evident. No sign of aggression yet, but it was only a fragile piece. Slowly he began clearing the branches that trapped the lion's leg. Each movement was slow and deliberate, his focus never wavering from the pride. They were still, but they were there, and he could feel the weight of their watchfulness. A soft growl from one of the lionesses, barely audible, made Caleb pause. She stepped forward, hesitating just a moment before pulling back again. It was a test, a warning perhaps, but not an attack. He took a breath, and with steady hands reached for his compact chainsaw. The hum of the saw filled the air as he began to cut into the trunk. The chainsaw jammed. Caleb swore under his breath but didn't hesitate. With a swift motion, he grabbed the crowbar from his kit, wedging it into the tree's base. For what seemed like an eternity, he strained against the wood muscles aching before finally feeling the trunk shift just enough. With a crack, the pressure on the lion's leg was relieved. Caleb quickly sprayed antiseptic on the injury, wrapping it with gauze. The lion stirred, his eyes fluttering open, golden and intense. They locked with Caleb's, a deep, silent communication passing between them. The lion's breathing steadied, but Caleb knew this was far from over. He made the decision. The journey to the veterinary station had to begin now. With all his strength and care, Caleb called in for the recovery team. As Caleb finished his work, the stillness of the savannah seemed to deepen. The air heavy with anticipation. The pride, up until now standing as unmoving as statues, began to stir. It was a subtle shift at first. One of the lionesses stepped forward, her golden eyes never leaving Caleb. Movements were measured, almost hesitant, as though considering his every action. Then, with a soft nudge, she gently touched the white lion's muzzle, a quiet gesture of affection and reassurance. Her nose brushed his face, and for a brief moment, Caleb saw the bond between them. This lioness wasn't just a companion. She was his guardian, his protector, as instinctively tied to him as his very own kin. The younger male, possibly a brother or close companion, followed her example. He moved closer, bending down to lick the white lion's face, his actions tender despite his size and strength. It was a display of familial love, an unspoken understanding between the members of this powerful pride. Caleb's heart quickened. He had no time to waste. He radioed the medical team, signaling them to move in quickly, knowing every second mattered. Time was slipping away, but there was a strange sense of calm that had settled over the scene. The pride, once a wall of silent guardianship, began to part just enough to allow Caleb and the vet team to carefully lift the injured lion onto a stretcher. It was as if the pride had made its decision. They would allow this human, this stranger to their world, to take their comrade to safety. And so, with immense trust, Caleb and the team began their retreat, moving slowly but steadily. The lions watched, their gaze unwavering as the white lion, now named Sefu, a name meaning sword, was carried away, his fate still uncertain but his journey for now preserved. Weeks passed at the veterinary station as Caleb watched over Sefu, the white lion. With each day, the lion grew stronger. The tender care Caleb had given, cleaning the injury, administering medication, and keeping a watchful eye, gradually gave way to healing. Minor surgeries, skillful and precise, allowed Sefu to regain his strength, and soon the lion's once shattered body was restored. As the lion's condition improved, word of the rescue began to spread, not just across the reserve, but throughout the region. Footage of the pride standing guard, their unwavering protection of their fallen comrade, went viral. The story of the white lion, sheltered by his pride and saved by a rescuer's compassion, struck a chord deep in the hearts of many. It was a tale of hope, a testament to the delicate balance between humans and the wild. Then the day came. After weeks of recovery, Sifu was ready to return to his kingdom, the grasslands of Sealess Reserve. Caleb stood silently as the white lion was released, stronger than ever. With a mighty roar that echoed across the plains, Sifu rejoined his pride near the very acacia tree where his journey had begun, a moment of true triumph. Triumph witnessed only by those who knew how fragile life could be. Tourists would occasionally glimpse him from afar, a mysterious figure leading with strength. The legend of the white lion living on. In the ranger station, a single photo of Caleb and Sifu, framed with the words, "The day the pride stood guard," hung proudly. It was a reminder that sometimes the bonds between us and the wild are not forged in the silence of a rescue, but in the trust that blooms in its wake. As the white lion, once vulnerable and fragile, reclaims his place in the wild, his story becomes a powerful reminder of the incredible bond between humans and nature. In a world where such moments are, fleeting, we witness not just survival, but resilience, trust, and compassion. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring wildlife tales. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Together, we can continue celebrating the wild, where every rescue, every encounter is a testament to the beauty of our planet.